Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast where we celebrate and discuss Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, and with me are...
I'm a co-host, Pete Mummert.
And this is Jerry Porter, other co-host, but down the line, third last.
I guess I'm a host with two co-hosts. That's the way it works. Today we are discussing Minute 2 of this awesome movie. Minute 2 begins with the remainder of Denholm Elliott's unusually large credit and ends a minute later with credit to producer Frank Marshall. And in between that is a lot of walking through the woods.
And one of the greatest screen freakouts of all time.
Yeah. By some high schooler in a knit cap.
But I had a question about that.
Yes.
Why is he screaming?
Yeah, is he afraid of birds?
I'm going to say...
just hear me out for a second.
Sure.
That guy, I'm assuming maybe he's like a local guide or something. And so he probably lives around there-ish in South America.
Yeah, but here's why it's cool.
He's on point. Like, he's the guy who's on point.
Yeah, he's hacking with a machete.
Point. Yeah, he probably is on point because he knows about, like, the creepy stuff and where it is. But that doesn't mean he wants to see the creepy stuff. Like, I think this is cool because it's like they don't explain it at all. They don't say what that statue is. Maybe he's afraid of birds. A bunch of birds fly out of the thing.
I thought maybe it was bats.
It might be bats. It could easily be bats. But whatever it is, it's like, oh, okay, he's freaked out. They're going someplace freaky. That is upsetting to him, but isn't upsetting at all to Indy.
But it's such a comic book freak out. Oh. Like his head shakes, he flings his arms out to the side. He's like,
well, maybe it goes to show you, like, oh my gosh, that guy's native. He knows this land. If he's freaking out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just, I think there are 4 guys plus Indy. We got Satipo, we got Barranca. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
sure.
Indy, and then we got 2 other guys, and I think they both take off right here, even though I think I've only ever noticed one taking off.
So these 2 guys are like porters, right? Like they're sort of the Chachapoya version of Sherpas.
I guess, yeah, they got the pack mule, and they got the beautiful knitted cap.
Yeah.
The one guy has like a frying pan on his backpack.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, for frying stuff.
Yeah.
And then Satipo and Baraka are just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's actually true. Maybe they are from the city. They're from the town, and they don't cotton to this crazy mumbo jumbo.
When I saw this minute, I kept thinking of the 2 guys and of Mice and Men. Satipo's huge compared to Baraka. And he stands there and he kind of looks at him like, I don't know.
It's a statue. Birds. And Baraka's like, they're bats, you dummy. So that's the high point of the action in this minute. Other than that is a bunch of people's names, like Norman Reynolds, who we love, even if we don't know that we love him, because he is Mr. Star Wars and Mr. Spielberg and Mr. Superman movies. He worked on all that stuff.
Well, did you guys notice, like, as the minute progresses, they have that shot where they're like, oh, okay, now they're crossing the river. It starts in like a jungle, and then there's sort of that like South American, like open, grassy, I don't know, pampas or whatever it is. What is it with the plain thing? Yeah. And then they go back into the jungle, and then they're in the river, and that's when you hear, at least to me, that like Hallmark, we're in Dagobah. Sound effect. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I believe you. I can't think of what it is, but I know that I believe you that it's there.
It's just like a bird or, some sort of, this place is exotic and spooky. And they show, like, it cuts to, like, they're about to cross that river. And, they show it's kind of like misty. And then you hear it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the same bird that
Yeah.
lives on Dagobah.
That place is strong with the dark side. That's what
Yeah.
it's letting you know.
Yeah, it's letting you know, like there's that in conjunction with the point man freaking out. Like this might be a tough 2 hours.
Why are they going here?
Yeah.
Well, the Freakout just seems so. I don't know what about it, but it seems so classic Spielberg 1980s.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like a quick shot from a comic book.
Well, what's funny
Yeah.
too is the guy goes up to it. He's like, it's clearly a giant head statue with some vines on it, and then only after he peels the vines away does he freak out. Like, didn't he see enough of what it was to freak out before he got there?
Well, see, that's where I was thinking. I'm like, well, maybe he wasn't expecting like that Mesoamerican god or whatever. It's like it's not. Like he was
I
thinking
thought
it was
this was
yeah.
Pickle Tap. Oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting him.
Well, according to the internets, they are seeking the Chachapoyan warriors' temple,
Oh my gosh.
and the Chachapoyan are an actual South American nation, or they were until they were conquered by the Inca.
Really?
Wow.
And they also had giant statues of heads.
So is this all supposedly pre-Aztec or pre?
No,
Inca?
it's post, but their relics are supposed to be pre-Inca.
You know what, Tom? You're no longer the host. Pete's the host.
I'm sorry. He dug deeper.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, we got the archaeology part of the movie. Tom got the.
I know who Norman Reynolds is.
Yeah, I don't. What's I just had fun and wanted to be an archaeologist. Well, is it forget it. I was gonna say those big head, like those Olmec heads. It's kind of one of those throwbacks, but it's South America. You can delete all this, but isn't that anyway? I'm bored.
I
All right.
apologize to everyone who actually knows this stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the Olmecs were that. Well, actually, the Olmecs.
The Olmec, but that was more like Mexico. That was like
That was
Central
Mexico,
America.
and the
Yeah.
Aztecs were more Mexico. This Incas
Yeah.
were
They were more.
Spanish South America,
Yeah.
but they completely destroyed the Chachapoya people.
Oh, no wonder the guy was so freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It was bats.
Oh my gosh. Well, did you guys notice that what's his name, Barranca?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That he actually has, and it's towards the end of the scene or the minute, that he actually has what it looks like to me a bullet hole already in his hat.
Oh, really?
I didn't notice that.
And so you're already like, look, this is a bad day. It's minute 2. Maybe that's why all those guys they're all a little bit on edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He actually has a bullet hole in his hat.
couple of great names, other names in this minute too. Douglas Slocum.
Oh, sure.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
all take our hats off for a minute. He died recently.
At the
At 103, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Something
amazing.
like
he was
that.
he was born before World War I started.
My God.
Jeez.
But he died before World War III. Well done. Just made it. And he was the director of photography on almost every movie ever made, but the only one you really need to mention is Rollerball. He did Rollerball.
When do we do that? The rollerball minute.
It's on the list. Robert Watts, he was another Star Wars guy. He was a production supervisor on Star Wars, and then he was a producer on Empire, Jedi, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Lawrence
Lucasfilm
Kasdan,
guy.
another.
Lawrence
another Star
Kasdan.
Wars.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. He might be, I don't know. He's almost like in John Rhys Davies territory. He's like a nerd champion.
And I've seen recently that he's writing the screenplay for the Han Solo standalone Star Wars movies.
Yeah, supposedly he was hired originally for that. And then
okay.
Force Awakens script situation got weird and he came in.
Really?
Yeah.
He's like a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna do all these things right.
And apparently he always was, because I think the story goes that he did the draft for Empire, and then George Lucas, took the script from him and was introducing him to people, and he said, "Oh yeah, this is Larry Kasdan. He's writing Raiders of the Lost Ark." He's like, "Oh, really? Cool. Thanks."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he wrote the screenplay and the story by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman.
Yeah, and I think I heard a long time ago that Philip Kaufman was under the impression that he was going to direct this, and he was disappointed.
Well,
now that sounds like Hollywood.
Well, and
It does.
And Jerry, there's another Pete and Jerry connection here. I think he didn't direct this because he went to make The Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
With Dean Wormer. Which brings it back to Animal House. Karen Allen, we're done.
We're done. Yeah, wrap this minute up. It's just pure gold.
I did hear, though, that Philip Kaufman, he didn't have much input on the final story, but he got a credit because he came up with the idea of using the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh.
And he said he got that idea when he was a kid because his dentist used to talk to him about it.
I read that too.
Beats
So,
Novocaine.
dentists, not all bad.
No. We love dentists now.
Well, and you can tell, like, even going back to Pete, the sort of classic freak out that the guy does with the head shake and the runaway. You're like, oh, it's like old time, pretty much what those guys wanted to do is kind of like a old time serial.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you
the
can
Thief
find
of
it,
Baghdad or something, that type of, like, from the 30s and 40s of serial movies where it looked like that, felt like that. But I guess that's why the commercial's like a modern hero.
right.
And I think it's George Lucas wanted to make it like one of those 1950s serials.
Yeah.
Like just like Star Wars, this was going to be another one of the serial recreations.
Yeah. And if I don't think I'm making this up. I think somewhere on YouTube you can find audio recordings of their story sessions, like Spielberg and Lucas and Kasdan all just spitballing like crazy ideas and sort of fleshing out who Indiana Jones is and stuff. And it's really, really cool.
I've seen that too. Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my gosh, they have to have this conversation because they haven't made Raiders of the Lost Ark yet. They have to figure it out first, and then they can make it, and then we can go watch it.
Well, apparently, Steven Spielberg wanted him to be a little bit more like hard-boiled, like an alcoholic, and does that sound familiar, Pete? Like he wanted him to be a little bit more.
Well, I think the way I heard that the story came about is George Lucas always used to go to Hawaii when he had a new movie come out, and so when Star Wars came out, he was in Hawaii trying to get away from all of the craziness of the premiere, and Steven Spielberg was with him. And apparently they were building a sand castle on the beach.
Yeah.
And Spielberg turned to him and said he wanted to make a James Bond movie. And George Lucas was like, you know what? I've got a better idea. And he pitched him Raiders.
Oh, yeah, starring Indiana Smith.
That's right.
Which I think Spielberg hated.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's Indiana Smith. I mean, I don't really know why Jones is and then the other guy's like, no, how about Indiana Jones? Oh my God, that's it.
Well, because you can't yell Smith as well. Smith!
That's
actually pretty good.
That's a good point.
You can't get your head around it as much. Well, all right. I think that's going to do it for minute 2.
That's all I got.
Yeah. That's all any of us have.
Yep.
But please join us again tomorrow, where we will tackle minute 3 of this incredible movie.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you like us, please subscribe to us on iTunes. Write us a review. Follow us at IndianaJonesMinute.com or on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Yeah, please join us tomorrow for another exciting Indiana Jones Minute.
Indiana Jones Minute.
Jones!